Winston McCall of Parkway bloody fucking Drive. How are you, man?
Oh, bloody fucking drive, eh? I'm doing good. I'm running on caffeine, anxiety, and pure ambition right now. Yeah, I'm
That
doing good.
sounds like an amazing cocktail of can-do attitude to me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Definitely pushing the can-do spirit to its absolute breaking point at the moment, but it's all functioning, so I'm good. I'm good.
Hey, man, I mean, it's taken you to 20 years as a band
Yeah,
and the most ridiculous 20-year anniversary concert tour I think I've ever seen from an Australian band. So you're doing something right.
yeah. Yeah. Bas- Basically, yeah. It's pretty nuts, dude. It's pretty nuts. It's all kind of escalated really quickly in our minds after COVID, which is really like, I don't know. It's kind of like COVID was like a bit of a break in the it was the only break we've ever had in the like momentum and just life of being in a band, and then you come back and it's just like 0 to 1 billion real quick. So yeah.
It's pretty hectic. Now, of course, the tour I'm talking about is your 20th anniversary arena run,
Yeah.
which will see you hitting all of the major cities in Australia to everybody's excitement.
Everybody's, yeah.
There's no come to Perth on this one.
Nah, hell no. We got an upgrade in Perth, man. That's nuts. Tickets in Perth went psycho. It's the whole thing's absolutely mental. Like we kind of it was really weird because when we first planned this, like years ago, we're like, at the 20-year anniversary, you do something like you play 4 nights of like 500 people, and that'd be sick. And then it came around to this, and off the back of Knotfest, I was like, hang on, there's like 20,000 people every night going mental. Like they want to see it. Like you can't exclude people from a 20-year anniversary. You got to try and include everyone. So let's just do it in the biggest venues we've done. And then to have the ticket sales just go the way they did, because it was very nice. It's like, oh yeah, people do want to come to this. This is sick. So it's really cool. And like what we have planned is awesome. It's really, really awesome. It's going to be so good, man. I can't wait to play this.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit about what you've got planned. I believe this is going to be the biggest production you've ever had on home soil. Can you give us any sneak little peeks at what that might involve? Because I can't
It's
imagine
not just
anything
home
being
soil,
bigger.
man. This is just it's the wildest thing that we've put together. But the best way that I could describe it is it's 20 years worth of Parkway as a band and Parkway as people within our industry and within our skill set, basically taking everything we've learned over the years and everything that we've grown into and putting it all into the one show. So we basically have tried to create the most insane experience that people can get, but also the most personal experience people can get at the same time in the biggest venues that we could play up until now. Um, so that's kind of what we're going for. And I don't want to spoil anything, but it's it's just damn good. You just want you're not quite sure what you're going to be going to get, what you're going to get, but I can guarantee you from the word go, it's going to hit you right in the feels, and then it's going to hit you right in the pit, and then it's it's just going to blow your brain out of the back of your head. So yeah, it's nuts. Like I'm so stoked for the first time for Australia to be getting the first run of a show as well. Normally it's like it's launched in like Europe or on a festival or something like that. This time, like Australia is the first time anyone's going to be seeing the new upgrade of Parkway.
Blows my mind to even think about what that might look like, considering your last two runs in this country were potentially upstaging Slipknot on Knotfest with your pyro attack. And prior to that, putting on what has to have been the greatest arena run I've ever seen from a band in a heavy genre or any genre on the Reverence tour in this country. So the idea of like a stage show that's bigger than that, just I can't fathom it. We're entering
I can
uncharted
safely say
territories.
that you can't. Like you honestly can't. That's the thing. It's and like it's not. This isn't just. This is why I say it's like it's 20 years of experience of us used in every capacity. Like we have spent a long time learning the craft of putting together a show, beyond just like the creation of music and everything. I mean, we've learned how to, create a show arc and have a vision for how to put the show on in itself. And there's nothing that's getting left behind in it. And it's, when we created this, and it's taken a lot of crafting. When we created the show flow and we looked at the entire thing back, I was just like, Jesus Christ, from the moment this thing starts right up until the end, there's very little possibility that anyone watching this that knows or has never heard of this band for the first time doesn't walk out and just go, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. So yeah. And I say that in all humbleness, but at the same point in time, like, I'm not normally one to talk us up, but just knowing what it is, like even rehearsing it at the moment, I'm like, if this thing works, all right. I got no comparison for it at this point in time, so rad.
That's incredible. Now, you and I have been having these chats for quite some time now, and the thing that always springs to mind when I'm chatting to you is that you're never stagnant as a band. You're always moving forward. Every time we chat, there's something new and exciting, and some kind of new evolution of the Parkway Drive experience. But at this point in time, you find yourself looking back on 20 years as a band, which is an unusual place for your band to be in. Is it making writing set lists tricky?
Yeah. Yeah, but also kind of no. It's been really interesting because like through the band's evolution, it's been one of those things where we always felt like we were one or two songs away from having like we're kind of always a step behind what our imagination was for what the band's sound could be and what we also wanted to create in an experience. And it wasn't until basically putting out Darker Still that like we had all of the pieces that we kind of needed sonically to have that complete spectrum of sound. And from there, then we've been able to go back and like start pulling apart different pieces of the set and throw all the songs in and screw around with the flow a little bit more. And this set's been really, really fun to create because like it is, I'm not going to say it's like 100% retrospective, but there's a bunch of stuff in there which we haven't played in ages. And there's a bunch of stuff which I think when we play some of the older songs, they're going to sit so well in a contemporary atmosphere, probably in the fullest way that they've sat before in any kind of set, which is really nice to be able to take something which you've created 10, 15, almost 20 years ago and go, hey, it's still relevant to what we do now. When you put it all together, you can get the entire thing. So it's cool. It's rad to be able to do a 20-year anniversary and not just go, hey, this is just nostalgia. Because this band's like, we're so far from going back to just nostalgia as the point of what we want to push. We're still 100% pushing forward, like you said, but being able to take all of the knives you've created in the past and sharpen them up again and go, hey, these things still cut is really cool.
That's awesome. Have you given any thought to what the experience might be like for someone sitting in the audience who's come across you from Darker Still, for example, who's then going to get hit across the head with Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em?
Yeah. It's like, yeah. They're in for it. Like, that's the thing with it, I guess, is like, when I say the songs sit well, like in context with everything else, there's going to be no way of going, oh God, I don't like that one. Because it's all written. I think you'll be able to draw the line in the most articulated way of the band's history musically that we've ever had through this entire set. I think the transitions and the way that the set list flows and everything like that is the smoothest it's ever been. Whereas we're in case, like you said, someone going, oh, I only heard Darker Still on the Fox Footy Network, and coming to this and just going, shit, they're still gonna walk out going, yep, I get all of that. I fully get that. The same way that someone who like yeah, the prom queen split and that's it, and decided to tap back in 20 years later, is still going to be able to go, whoa, this band went places, but I get it. So yeah, that's nice. That's basically been the aim for it. So yeah.
Providing Romance is Dead makes it into the set list for the tour, will this be the loudest pit call in the history of Australian metal?
That would be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be very nice. The most obnoxious, loudest pit call. I actually, yeah. You like, I love how like all these questions are like pulling little sneak peeks out of me of like, I wonder what's in the set. So, um, there's potential there. There's definitely potential. I'm hoping that like there's many points where I'm like, this is going to be the biggest thing ever. This is going to be the biggest thing ever. The amount of moments in this set that I think there's potential for that to happen is really, really, really crazy. So, we'll see. Might be one of them.
We'll see indeed. Now, of course, you have a tradition of bringing stacked lineups whenever you do these
Mm.
things, and it's you've done it again with this one. You've got I Prevail, The Ghost Inside, and Void of Vision. What was it about these particular acts that made you say, "Hell yeah, they're the ones to bring on our 20th run"?
All highly relevant. They've all like you can again draw a line through all of them in terms of like a common sound, and they're also all still pushing it really hard. That's the thing. Like I Prevail have been absolutely crushing over the last few years. Ghost Inside, it's amazing to have them back full stop. I'll have them on any lineup any day of the week. Like they're absolute besties of ours. And Void Vision, it's been amazing watching that band's journey and that like fearlessness that they have to evolve and create and continue pushing forward through everything they've been through as well. So it's really, really cool. I think the entire lineup's absolutely amazing. Like the whole night's it's going to be one for the history books full stop, which is pretty crazy considering how much history, I guess, has happened since basically the band started, and there was such a small scene in this country to the fact that it can be at this point now is something that's really, really rad.
It's incredible, isn't it? And just one thing you've continued to do is take younger bands with you. There's always at
Mm.
least one
Oh
Australian
yeah,
band
of
that's
course.
on the rise
Yeah,
on these major tour packages. And in this instance, it is, of course, Void of Vision. And they
yeah,
joined the ranks of bands like Polaris and Make Them Suffer and Northlane and
yeah.
these bands that you've played with across the years. Is that part of your ongoing passion
Hundred percent,
yeah.
100%. Like that's it. It's a very like basically we try and pick someone to give them more exposure and give them like basically the biggest audience that they can possibly get at that point in time, the most relevant audience as well. Like I think the thing with Parkway is it's been we've obviously been a band that has brought a lot of people from outside of this sound and outside of this just let's just call it alternative culture in general to these events. So if you, it's one thing to be able to be put on a show or play your own show where you're playing to an audience that's already receptive and already kind of knows who you are. But there's going to be a ton of people who have never heard these kind of bands full stop who are just coming. So to be able to have Australian bands at the front of that, because there's quality there, like there's there's quality and there's character that's unique to our country, and we want to be able to continue pushing that forward. Like we remember a time when we had those little leg ups in the way that we had them when we started, but it's kind of like I don't know. This has the potential to be something like the biggest thing we can give other bands going forward. So we keep trying to do that.
That's amazing to hear, and it's really cool to hear that kind of hardcore scene ethos being carried through a band that's at the size and scale that yours is
Mhm.
now. As we've all learned from the various documentaries and Australian Story and many other
Yeah.
things, the band is still very much a DIY kind of unit. Are you amazed that you're still able to succeed on the level you have running in that way?
Yes. Currently, I am very amazed because I'm so close to just like having a complete panic attack at every one of these rehearsals. But I, I I'm amazed. I'm amazed at the fact that we have been able to grow so much, and it's not so much the execution part of it of like, oh my God, I can't believe we can't like we've been able to do this ourselves. The thing that amazes me is the fact that we've been able to take on so many skills and we still have a forward focus, and we've been able to maintain control, but also learn to let go of enough of the reins to be able to bring in other collaborators to basically bring the vision to life. Because at some point in time, like you really do have to go, all right, this is out of my wheelhouse. I can't build a stage for an arena. I can imagine one, but I really can't build it. I got to get someone into like to help articulate the vision, and being able to figure that one out and still have 100% ethos and ethic of when you started is like, that is kind of the thing where I'm really proud of the fact that we're able to run like that. It's less of just like I can do it myself, and more of a testing of ourselves and our actual just artistic endeavors, because it's watching the amount of work on everyone in this band's plate right now, and for coming into this, I'm like, there'd be plenty of bands who'd just be like, got to learn some songs, and I'm like, at this point in time, when it comes to just learning the songs, I'll be so stoked, because that's the easiest part right now.
That sounds incredible, man. I know you got some other interviews to get to, so we will let you go in just a second. But before we do, I want to know, what does the future of Parkway Drive look like? I know you're coming up to this big 20-year anniversary run, but I suspect that you have no interest in plateauing beyond that.
Oh no, hell no. This is I mean, when I talk about like opening it up to a wider audience and history and all of these kind of things, yeah, the focus is forwards. There's like, I think we're at a moment where there is a really massive opportunity for us to be able to literally show everyone the fully realized concept of what this band wants to be, and will be. Right now, like, it's really interesting, you talking earlier in the interview about like the Reverence Run and Knotfest and all of those shows, because like in my mind I'm like, they were awesome, but what we're stepping into is the vision that's lived in my head for 5+ years now, and there's a vision for the next 5 years, and while it's very hard to articulate where it is, it will make a lot of sense why there is ambition and why there is drive behind this band, and the fact that when I say there is no limit for this, there's like, we want to be the biggest thing that's come out of this country since AC/DC. I don't think there's going to be a question about this if these shows go the way they want. So, I mean, that's a really cool thing to have. But at the same point in time, like, I'm so psyched to just play these gigs, because at the end of the day, like, playing the gigs is what makes me stoked.
Well, to borrow some words from AC/DC, it is a long way to the top. If you want to, well, not rock and roll, but
You want to do something a little bit harder than that? It's kind of even harder. That's the thing. It's been a 20-year climb, but I got no problem, and I see the rungs coming up, and I see where this is going, and yeah, this is a really nice point in history, but there's a lot more history to come.
be one of those people looking on like my footy team just won 3 grand finals in a row or something, because that's
Cheers,
what
mate.
it feels like every time you do one of these massive runs, because it's just unfathomable to see, like, from fucking Byron Bay High School.
Yeah. Yep, that's it. That's the thing. I'm stoked that everyone gets to enjoy that journey, because that's the journey that we know and we understand. And I really hope that this gives people a feeling of ownership and pride as to what they've helped create and what they're a part of, because it really is something that we know is very, very special, and we're very, very proud of.
Awesome, man. Have a good day, and yeah, thanks
Cheers,
for hanging
Brendan.
out.
Yeah, good to chat again. Cheers, brother.